Hello. I seem to upset someone, which in itself is not inherently good or funny, but the thing is, I don't understand what the shit this person's problem is. I can take an estimated guess, but I don't actually know. Like, they don't specify. The only close thing that they have is a comment saying harassing other YouTubers is not cool, which I don't fucking get again what he's referring to. He also linked to this jerk's channel, and that actually is a link to my channel, so I guess it's not a case of mistaken identity or anything. I did try asking him what the hell I did, but he's blocked the account. And then I tried doing it on the backup account, and he's blocked that as well. So he doesn't want to elaborate, weirdly enough, but he still seems to want to say all this. So let's give it a listen.
Professor Curious,
Hello.
go fuck yourself and stay off of my YouTube channel.
Okay.
And leave other YouTubers alone.
In what capacity? I get the impression he's not happy when people call other people out, despite the fact that this guy has like a long history of just like, I mean, this guy's videos are just hundreds of fucking pages of him just calling people out over YouTube content creators, and yet apparently I'm not allowed to do that. Like, okay. He also just talks about whatever the hell he wants to talk about, but anybody who has a counter, or anything like that, or who wants to contribute to what his point is doing the wrong thing in his metric, which is baffling to me because he always goes into the world of politics, and his politics are actually very controversial. Like, the guy legitimately believes in not having rights for people on the, like, who are in, like, the LGBT sphere. Like, he doesn't believe in them having rights, and he legitimately has a problem with, like, organizations like Black Lives Matter and whatever else, which, regardless of like people's opinions on these are things that people have opinions on, and these are things that affect people just through their own existence. Like, he seems to be like, oh, I have a problem with gay people existing, I wish they no longer existed. And apparently gay people saying, hold on a minute, mate, that's not fair, is harassment and bullying. So he's a stupid prick. His problem with me, I'm guessing, which this is just speculation, is that I made that video where I called him out for just constantly using his disability as an excuse to dodge fucking criticism, because he just has no fucking ability to handle criticism, and instead of just saying, okay, what this person is saying needs addressing, he just starts crying and pretending that it's a harassment situation, when most of the time it's not.
That's all I gotta say.
Oh, that's disappointing. Yeah, that's a typical Dustin Nunn video. He just sort of stares into space and then just sort of whatever. Right. To elaborate, I am not going to take any of that on board because I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to take on board. And I also don't feel like I should stop exercising my right to call people out on actual bullshit. Sorry, actual bullshit. I don't know why I said actual. Actual bullshit. because you just don't like it. And in some of these cases, it's just because they're your friends or because they're you. And quite frankly, no. Honestly, your content is not that good. And I don't think it's unreasonable for someone to point that out. So, to elaborate, if you could please, for the love of God, tell me what the hell this is about and talk a bit more, I would be able to give you more as a response, but unfortunately I cannot. The other thing whilst I'm here... Alright, so whilst I'm at it, I thought I'd respond to the other response that I got from my 3 jokes video, which was Mitch. Now, I'm going to admit, this one's weird, but at least Mitch actually responded to the video and spoke about it, but he didn't directly respond. Obviously, this video is not labelled properly, which he has a habit of doing, and he also never addresses that this video exists. He's just like, oh, apparently, and that's kind of weird, but okay. But as far as Mitch goes, I do have to give him some credit for being the only one with a pair of balls enough to respond to what I said in any capacity. And he did it first, and he did it in the most... I don't know what the word would be to describe this mess, but he did it in the best way of the 3. Now, that's not saying much. But the weirdest bit is that he responded to the video twice, saying very similar things on 2 different channels within 2 days of each other. So I'm going to play both of those videos back to back in case there's any, like, differences. Here we go.
Apparently using the autism...
Actually, I'll refresh.
So, apparently using the autism card for your excuse for your problem triggers other autistic people.
Yeah, that's a shock, isn't it? Like, the idea that you use something that you share with others as an excuse for your rancid behaviour, thus contributing to the stigmatization of those people, is not something that people appreciate. And I'm glad that you've actually taken that away from the video. Well done.
So for now on, when somebody asks me what the hell is wrong with me, I'm just gonna say, well, I'm just a little messed up here, okay? It's an illness, so...
So you're going to continue the same behaviour but just not using the word, and instead imply that it's your mental health instead, which contributes to the stigmatization of mental health sufferers, like negative mental health sufferers, and as a result, we're basically back to square one, where you're, again, contributing to the stigmatization of an entire group of people because you just simply cannot take responsibility for your own actions. Okay.
That's what I would say for now on. I just have a messed up here.
You see, I believed that, to a degree. But you see, again, so did I. And I didn't do the things that you do. And if I ever felt that I was going to, I took precautions to stop myself from doing stupid shit like you do.
So...
Okay, so, by the way, I hate this shorts player. It can actually fuck off. It's like the biggest piece of garbage I've ever seen in my entire life. And I don't know why YouTube decided, let's make it 10,000 times harder to watch videos just so we can rip off TikTok, a site that a lot of people who use YouTube don't even like. So anyway, here's the second version of that video. You'll see what I mean, but it's so like the first one. I don't know why he did this, other than the fact that I think he's trying to hide that second channel, but he did a piss poor job of it. Alright then, let's play this one.
So, what I've learned that autism is not an excuse.
Well, You know what? I'm actually proud of you for learning that one. Well done.
anymore. It's no longer a
It wasn't an excuse at all. It's not anymore. It just wasn't. But I'll assume you misspoke.
valid excuse.
It's not. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are situations where, like, you know, if you don't express yourself brilliantly, then yeah, okay, maybe like, you know, there will be situations where you can say, yeah, okay, I clam up sometimes, or I talk too much about my own personal interests, and this is why. But when you purposely go out of your way to do stupid things and then you fall back on it, that is the problem. And it contributes to the stigmatization. People like Chris Chan, for example, blame their autism for molesting their mum, for example, right? There is nothing in an autism diagnosis that says this person is prone to molesting their mum. I've never met another autistic person in my life who's molested their mum. It's fucking retarded that people are like, oh, well, I'm autistic, so it's fine. That was the point of the video. Admittedly, I think Mitch has kind of seen that, but he's not the best way of... Sorry, he's not the best at sort of conveying things. So I kind of give him a bit of a wide berth for that, because I understand that he might have some legitimate problems when it comes to like expressing himself, but admittedly there's a difference between that and what you purposely choose to do.
So, when somebody asks us, what the hell is wrong with you? I just said, well, you know, I'm just going through a rough patch in my life.
That's a better answer. Like I said, it does run the risk of contributing towards the stigmatization of people with mental health issues, but at least that makes more sense. It's still an excuse though, and I understand saying something like that if you do something like as a one-off that you then later take back and you're like, oh Jesus Christ, I said that, or oh Jesus Christ, I did that, or oh I stormed out my friends because of a joke, or something like that. Yeah, but when you make hundreds of fucking response videos talking shit about Damien Skyfire, for instance, that's not really a mental health thing. And also, if you're pro to do that because of your mental health, it's your personal responsibility to not do that. It's your personal responsibility to put yourself in a position where you don't do that. Now, I'll give Mitch a bit of credit. Mitch has said very recently, like yesterday, that he is working on changing himself and he is trying to learn lessons from this. Now, I hear this a lot, so you'll have to forgive me if I don't 100% trust Mitch on this, because I've heard this from Lance, I've heard this from Andrew Velasco, I've heard this from a lot of them, but I think, honestly, there's a chance that Mitch might actually change. I'm not holding my breath, but I think there's a possibility that he might have realised that he could, in fact, redeem himself. Because I don't think Mitch, in all honesty, is the absolute worst of these people. Just personally, I think that he's a bit of a dick, but I don't think he's the worst thing that this group of people have had to offer. And I honestly think that he could come back from it, and I do think he's too good for the likes of Cranium and Dustin Nunn. If I'm being completely honest, I think he's capable of being more than he is. But whether or not he actually jumps aboard that, I guess we'll see.
Yeah. And you know, and then you should better yourself.
That's what I said. Well done.
In that perspective.
So yeah, that was Mitch's response, which in comparison to Dustin was head and shoulders above what Dustin did, where he was just like, fuck you, I don't like you. This guy actually responds to what I said, and he actually said, I'm going to change how I behave because of what you said, and whatever else. Mitch may possibly be capable of having a redemption arc. Admittedly, I feel like he missed the point to some degree, but then later on, he suggested that he wants to change. Now, again, people do this all the time, so I'm not saying that he is on the road to redemption or that he will redeem himself. But I see it as in the realm of possibility. And I hope he does, because it would be nice to have a redemption arc out of someone like this, out of these kinds of people. And I think out of all of them, he is the one that I honestly would put my bet on. So yeah, Lance hasn't said anything because he's laying low. But that's okay, because I have something about Lance which I'll be putting out at some point. I contributed to a bigger project involving Lance, and I took some notes and stuff from that, and I'm basically using it as my own sort of ad hoc video, because there was just way too much for that other person's video. So they can still use it, but like, I don't think they will. So I'll be uploading that as its own thing when their project comes out. So yeah, as far as video responses go to that could have been worse. Well done, Mitch, I guess. And Dustin, if you want to elaborate on what the fuck I've done that's wrong, feel free, hit me up. I will gladly listen to your further complaints, whatever they are. Somehow, though, I doubt that they're of any substance. So yeah, thank you for watching, and hopefully this will result in at least one fucking redemption arc.